let's get started with installing Debian Linux in Virtualbox to be used as a virtual machine Linux lab. Okay, so the first thing we need is Virtualbox installed, which I won't cover in this video. But afterwards, once we have Virtualbox installed, we need to come to Google and search for Debian 10 net install. Okay, so once we have done that, we follow the debian.org link and we come down and we make sure that we're looking at the official net install image for the stable release. Okay, and then on the bottom right hand side here where it says AMD64, go ahead and click on that, and that'll prompt us to save it to disk. Now, in order to save time for this video, I have already downloaded the ISO, and there it is. So once you have finished downloading the ISO image, go ahead and close out your browser and then fire up VirtualBox. Once in VirtualBox, let's create a new virtual machine. And for the purposes of this video, I will call mine Debian 10. Come down to type, make sure its Linux version is Debian 64-bit, next. And we're going to leave the memory alone for now, next. Create a virtual hard disk now, create. VDI, VirtualBox disk image, next. Dynamically allocated, next. And then we want to change the size from 8 gigabytes to 20. Or at least that's what I will do. And next we right click on our newly configured virtual machine and select settings. Come down to system, deselect floppy drive. Make sure you have ICH9 selected. This is important for Debian 10. And in here, I will go ahead and allocate, let's see here, 8192. Oops. 8192. 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then move to the processor tab. Since I have 16 CPUs, I will go ahead and allocate 4 here. And then again for Debian 10, we want to enable nested VTX, AMD-V. Next, we come down to storage, click on the CD-ROM icon in the center. To the far right, we click on the CD-ROM icon again and choose disk file. And then we select the Debian 10.5 image that we just downloaded. Click open, and network, we will switch from network address translation or NAT to bridged adapter. And click OK. Now we can start our virtual machine. Click start. Change view to virtual screen 1, 250%, so we can see what we're doing here. Down arrow key, and then enter for install. Recenter this a bit. Close up these information bubbles. And for the language, I speak English, so I will hit enter. Enter for United States and enter for American English. So this is the initialization for install. It's going to set up our hardware and our network interfaces with IPv4 and IPv6. Then configure DHCP, grab an IP address, and then it will ask us for a host name. And we're almost done here. Going a little bit slower than normal. Okay. So it's asking for a host name. I will change this for Debian to DS9. Tab enter. Domain will leave blank. Tab enter. Password for root. Put in a quick password or a secure password. Tab enter. Confirm the password. Tab enter. Full name of a new user. This will be for our normal user, and I will call myself William. Tab enter. Tab enter. And password for our normal user. Tab enter. Reconfirm or confirm the password for our normal user. Tab enter. And here we want to select our time zone. I will select Central since that's the time zone I'm in. And here we will select guided use entire disk. Select the only disk that we have available. And then down on the bottom, we will separate home, var, and temp partitions. Enter. Finish partitioning and write changes to disk, enter, and then we will tab to yes and hit enter, and now it will install. So one thing that's good to know about Linux, if you use up to, I believe it's 4 gigabytes of RAM, it'll create a swap disk for you, which will be 512 megabytes. If you're going more than 4 gigabytes of RAM, it'll create a 1 gigabyte swap disk, right? So the reason why that's important is that you want to create more than 8 gigabytes of RAM for your virtual hard disk. Otherwise, if you try using more than 8 gigs of RAM with an 8 gigabyte root partition, it's going to fail. So anyways, scan another CD or DVD, no, enter. United States for our Debian apt package manager. United States for me. I will use the arrow keys and select ftp.us.debian.org. Enter. And this I'll leave blank. Enter. We don't have an HTTP proxy here. So anyways, of course, the reason why we segregated our root partition from var and temp and home is we always want to keep our data separate from our operating system. It's always good practice. It doesn't matter which operating system you're using. You never know when you may have to reinstall the operating system, or your file system for the operating system gets corrupted or whatever. You don't want to lose all your important data. So segregate when you can. All right. Now we're going to be selecting software here in a few seconds. Participate in the package survey, no. Okay, so here we want to deselect everything, and I'm using the arrow key to move down, and then space to unstar or deselect, right? And then we hit tab to continue, and then enter. Install grub bootloader to the master boot record. Yes, so enter. And we select dev SDA, which SDA is the equivalent of C: for Windows. And our installation is complete, so hit enter. Gonna let this restart. Kill this balloon here, hit enter. And before I can even close this information bubble, we have our login screen. So now we log in with our normal user, type the password, and that's it. We have an under 10-minute install of Debian Linux. Okay, so that's going to be all for this video. I'm going to keep this short to keep people interested, and so they can just go through the different videos that they want to watch and not be inundated with useless information. So one more command, in case you don't know, is exit. We never want to leave our server or our Linux machines wide open. So we exit, and that's it for now. Have a good one.